Hey everyone, Dan at Bushcraft. Well, today guys, we're going to make a Fatwood fire torch. Now if you've seen the videos on a Swedish fire torch, basically the same thing. We're just using Fatwood, which I haven't seen anyone else doing. And one of the blessings of the Ochiko Mountains and a lot of the western United States is the forests are just filled with Fatwood. Old root wads like this behind me, more right here. You can see where I've cut some of these off already and have used them for firewood, are just filled, just completely filled with resin. Wow, look how dark that is. See that? That's pure resin in there, pure pitch. That's the gasoline of the forest. It burns long and it burns hot. And the shavings or the sawdust like I just made saw on this make absolutely fantastic fire starter. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a fire torch using a big piece of Fatwood. And I got one here. Sometimes when these trees go down and you get these big root wads, you get pieces like this that are already broke off. This is very heavy. That's how you can tell. If I would have picked this up and it just felt light, like it was all dried out or a regular piece of wood, but this is very, very heavy, and that means it's full of Fatwood. So I'm going to take this down here to a place we can set up, and I'm going to saw off a section. It's about roughly 4 inches or so in diameter. That's going to make a nice Fatwood fire torch. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's first thing in the morning. The sun's not over the horizon yet, and just on the hill below me, I got a big pack of coyotes. I would say at least 5 or 6, and they are chasing something. I could hear them running and just howling and yipping and howling. I can still hear them going off in the distance. I hope that you guys could hear a little bit of that. All right, cut me off a section here. Nice. Yeah, see all that dark? You can smell it. That's Fatwood down in there. Resinous. It's dried out on this end. That end is loaded with Fatwood. Okay, next step. I want to split this into 4 pieces. Now, if this was good and dry, nice dry wood, I would probably use my knife. I got my SE6 today and baton down through, and I may end up doing that anyway, but I'm going to try my hatchet first, because the thing about Fatwood, all that resin in there, is that is really, really hard, heavy wood. It puts a lot of extra wear on your knife. So I'm going to use my little hand hatchet and see about batoning that. And we got a big knot right here too, so that's going to make a little more work. Little split. All right, here we go. And as you can see, in fact, I got my hatchet wedged in there pretty good. Here we go. Yeah. That's hard wood with that resin in there. There we go. See it splitting open? So that's why I want to use my hatchet instead of a knife. It's all that pitch resin running through there put a lot of extra wear on my knife that I just don't want to do. So we'll split this again in half. There we go. And last one. Okay. Okay, the magic of film. I've pieced it back together. Actually, I'm just holding it together. I've got it's split into 4 pieces, but we're eventually going to put this back together. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take, this is the end that I'm going to start my fire in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these pieces and I'm going to cut a little section out. So when I piece it back together, there's a hole right here, and we'll fill that hole with more fatwood, and that's where we'll start our fire. Okay. So again, this is the end. I'm going to build my fire in. So I'm going to just chip off. And all of these pieces I can save to make shavings and things and shove down in there. Be careful. You can see my hand is up here, and all of my chops are way below my hand. In fact, thing is, if you see what I'm doing, I'm not raising the hatchet above finger level. I'm keeping the hatchet down so the blade stays below finger level. Okay. Same on this one. And last one. Okay, I'm going to piece that back together real quick. So once again, I've pieced it back together. But this time, see what we've done? By carving out those sections, I have a hole in there, and we're going to build a fire in there. And I've got fatwood shavings. I'm going to make some fine scrapings and shavings and shove them down in there. But first, we got one other step. Actually, two other steps we want to do. So let me pause you guys just a moment. Okay, you're going to want to carry a little piece of wire or a little spool of wire in your pack. It can be something as small as snare wire. This is a little bit heavier. This is 18 gauge galvanized wire, and you're going to want to wire this together. So anything that won't burn, if you use parachute cord or something, it's going to eventually burn into and then open up, and we don't want that. So at this point in time, as I've got it pieced back together, I'm going to wire it together about 2/3 of the way down or 1/3 up from the bottom. But I'm not going to go real tight yet. I just want to hold it together so that it doesn't keep falling apart on me while I'm trying to work with it. And I got to keep messing with it. Okay. Last thing I want to do, I want to create some airflow through the sides. I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to take a piece of green wood. Cut me 2 little branches. And then I'm going to wedge those in here. And I'm using green wood, so it's not going to burn up right away. Willow works really good. I'm just not near a creek. Okay. There, and I've got that wired into place. Now actually, that's probably opened up just a little bit more than what I want it to be. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim those down a little bit. Because I could have used a smaller limb too. And then I'm going to tighten my wire up. And that can be done just by putting a stick in here and giving it a little twist. There we go. I ended up doing it with my hands anyway. All right, let me pause you guys. So that's much better. I just should have grabbed me a smaller diameter branch. I'm just trimming that down. And I'm going to wedge that one down in there. I've tightened my wire up a little bit now. That's better. So I've got air opening where air is going to come in on 4 sides. It's all wired nice and tight together so it can't fall apart. And I got a nice opening here on the top. So I'm going to start taking these little extras from what I chopped off, and I'm going to start filling up that center, breaking up into smaller pieces. Some of them I'll just leave as they are. I've got a lot of this stuff here that came off from when we chopped. We're just going to fill that up. And if I need more, I'll go saw me another little piece of Fatwood and go get some more and shove them down in there. And I'm even going to put some in the sides, in these openings down here. So I've got some underneath these cross sticks too. All right. A few more. We're looking good. And you can use any kind of tinder you want. If you want to use, you know, dried moss or lichen or whatever, dried branches off of a fir tree. It's just convenient. You've chopped out this section here of Fatwood, which is, you know, again, the gasoline of the forest. So going ahead and using those pieces, it's just convenient. They're already there. And I got a couple more. Okay. Now what I did is I already made me a pile of shavings. So I've got a fine pile of curls and scrapings, and I'm going to put those on the top. Feel the very, very top. With all those fine shavings. So I'm going to pause you guys. We're going to move over to a fire pit. Okay, I got my Fatwood fire torch down in the fire pit. All of those loose shavings are shoved down in here with some right on top. I got a few leftover little pieces of Fatwood to feed down in there if I need them. So let's just go ahead and get this going. Now some of the Fatwood out here, because it's so heavy with resin, takes a little bit more. There we go. Like I said, I got a couple extra pieces. I can just feed down in there, put one there. Put that one through from the side. And there is our Fatwood fire torch. And right now, while it's safe, I'll lift that up out of there so you guys can see. It's like right now, while it's in the safe way, I can move it to a different location. Maybe I've lit it in one place and I want to move it over closer to my shelter or something like that. But once that gets burning good, I'm not going to be able to move it like that. So let me pause you guys here for a couple minutes and let this just burn, and then come back and let you take another look at it. So we'll wait like 5 minutes and let this really get going good and down inside, and then come back and take a final look at it. So it's been right at 5 minutes. Started at 7:10, 7:15, if you guys can see that. And it's just a nice steady burn down here through the Fatwood. I mean, this thing is going to burn a long, long time. It's just going to take its time, and it's going to burn right down through all that Fatwood and all that resin. I can turn this a hair there so you guys can maybe see a little better. There's airflow coming in those cracks, and all 4 pieces of the wood have now ignited, so it's gradually burning down the inside of those, and it'll just keep burning and burning, and I'm going to have fire for a long time. And cool thing is right now it's still in a stage where I can pick it up and move it. So 7:16, let's pause it for another 5 minutes. So another 5 minutes has gone by. It's actually burning hotter now than it was. I'll show you guys another cool thing about this. It's not only, so I've got like this torch here that's just going to burn for a long time. I mean, maybe I just want a little bit of light before I go to sleep that's going to last me a couple hours, or I want just some nice warmth for a while that I don't have to maintain a fire or anything. I can make up a couple of these. I can do like 3 of them, and when one finally burns down to the bottom, I can use it to ignite the second one. So 3 of these would probably last me the night, that size with the Fatwood. But there's another thing I can do, is make my breakfast. You drink coffee. I don't drink coffee, but if you want a hot cup of coffee, whatever, you just set your cup right on top of your Fatwood torch, and in a few minutes you'll have boiling water. If you want to add some oatmeal, or if you're making lunch, dinner, whatever, and the gaps on the sides are going to ensure that that flame keeps burning. I'm going to pull this back just a hair too, so that's just going to keep burning, and then here shortly my water's going to be boiling. So I'll pause you guys one last time. All right, it's been about 4.5 more minutes, and I have water that's just starting to boil. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's making that sound from the hot steel against the water. So I've got hot water here. I want to make hot cocoa. I want ramen noodles. I want oatmeal breakfast. And my Fatwood fire torch is still burning away. So set that off to the side. All right. So there it is, guys. Again, you may have seen videos. There's quite a few on YouTube of the Swedish fire torch, and that's where I got the idea. And I was thinking, why not do that with Fatwood? Because your resin acts like gasoline, and so in the middle of winter, when it's really, snowy and cold, rainy, wet out here, and getting something like this, finding a dry piece of wood and getting it burning is going to take a little more work. This Fatwood, all that resin in there, is just going to be, the ideal fuel. Ideal fuel for making one of these fire torches. So this thing is going to burn as slow as that's burning. It's going to burn for a couple hours, and I think that's cool too, because it would be real easy to make up, I think, 3 of them and light one just before you go to sleep, get a couple hours sleep, and then pass the torch to the next one, and probably have your 3rd one ready or still burning in the morning for breakfast. And you can, bigger, smaller. To me, that's about 4 inches or so. That's just the right size for doing it with Fatwood. And you find, again, here in the Ochakos and probably most of the western U.S. in the forest, you'll find Fatwood. But, the regular Swedish torch uses just regular wood. It's just the Fatwood is going to burn longer, and it's going to put out a lot more heat. So there it is, guys. Fatwood torch, Ochako Bushcraft. Take care, everyone.